The grandfather paradox. You build a time machine, not to become rich, not to save the world, but to answer one simple question. Can you change fate? You travel back to a time long before you were born, a time when your grandfather was young, unaware, vulnerable. You walk the streets. They look different, slower, grayer. The air smells of coal and unspoken futures. You find him. He doesn't know you. You follow him for days, watch him eat, work, laugh. Then, one evening, you pull the trigger. You make sure he dies before he ever meets your grandmother. And yet, you still exist. At first, you wait to vanish. You stare at your hands. Nothing changes. You touch your chest. You still breathe. But that shouldn't be possible. If your grandfather died, your parent was never born, which means you were never born. So how are you here? Who killed him if you don't exist? And if you don't exist, how did he die? The paradox loops. If the past changes in a way that erases your future, you couldn't have gone to the past to cause that change. So, perhaps you didn't kill him after all. Maybe the gun jammed. Maybe you tripped. Maybe someone stopped you. Time, as some believe, resists alteration. It heals itself like skin, like a broken bone finding its shape again. Or maybe something more disturbing happened. Maybe a new universe split off, one where your grandfather died early, one where you never existed. But you, the version from the original timeline, remains stranded, displaced, a shadow from a forgotten reality. Which timeline is real? What if there's no original timeline? What if all moments exist simultaneously, endlessly branching into infinite paths? In one, he lived. In another, he didn't. In this one, you stand in the fog of contradiction, existing and not, cause and effect, bleeding into each other. You aren't a person anymore. You're an error, an anomaly, the child of a question that should never have been asked. You return to the present, but it's different, subtly. Familiar streets feel uncanny. People you knew now speak with strange confidence. Events you remember never happened, or happened differently. The world is the same, but you are not. You try to sleep, but the dream keeps replaying. The gun, the blood, the silence. Maybe it happened. Maybe it didn't. But something in time broke, and it was you. The Bootstrap Paradox. You walk into a dusty antique store. Time smells thick. The shelves creak with objects that don't belong. A compass, a broken clock, a manuscript without a name. You pick it up. Inside are diagrams. Complex, beautiful, impossible. A machine that shouldn't exist. You build it, slowly, obsessively, piece by piece. It works. It opens time. You step through. Centuries back, the world is quieter, cruder, but you carry knowledge far beyond it. You meet a young inventor, brilliant, eager, stuck. You hand him the manuscript. He studies it, builds, succeeds. He becomes a legend, the father of time travel. Years pass. You grow older. You leave the manuscript where you found it. The store, the shelf, the cycle. But then a thought hits you. Who wrote it? You didn't. You found it. He didn't. You gave it. It exists without origin. A loop in causality. A gift with no giver. An effect without cause. That is the Bootstrap Paradox. An object, a fact, an idea, traveling through time, handed from future to past, and back again. endlessly, but never created. The loop is perfect, complete, sealed, and yet it breaks everything. How can something exist without ever being born? How can knowledge exist that was never discovered, only past? Is the object real? Is the knowledge true? Or are you living in an echo of something that never happened? If time is a river, this is a whirlpool, a moment endlessly folding into itself. And if your machine came from this paradox, then so did your journey, your memories, your purpose. Are you even real? Or just a ghost built from a story with no beginning? You try to trace the origin, you fail. Every version leads to another version. Every cause points to its own effect. It's infinite, it's circular, it's hollow. You are not the first, you are not the last, you are the middle, forever. And the worst part? It works. The machine, the idea, the loop, it holds. Reality doesn't shatter. The paradox is invisible, silent, allowed, but not explained. You close your eyes. You see yourself handing the book. You see yourself receiving it. You see no start, no creation, no invention, just repetition, just the loop. And in that loop, you lose your sense of time, of self, of meaning. If everything you are comes from nothing, what are you? Sleep now, traveler. The manuscript waits, and so do you. The predestination paradox. You are born with a question, not spoken, not written, just there. A quiet pressure in the back of your mind, a weight that doesn't belong to childhood. Not yet. Years pass. You grow. You search. You don't know what for, but the ache stays. Then one day, while reading, you stumble upon something strange. A case, a person, a tragedy. It feels familiar. You dream of it. A woman crying, a child missing, a shadow in the rain. You can't explain it, but it pulls you. You become obsessed. You learn everything. You study physics, history, anomalies. You find blueprints, half finished, scattered, and you complete them. And then, without knowing how, you build a machine, a door through time. You step in, you aim for answers, but the machine doesn't listen. It sends you back to the day of the tragedy. You recognize the street, the sky, the storm, and then you see her, the woman, crying, alone, desperate. You follow her. You reach the house, and inside, you find the child, alone, frightened. You try to comfort them. You speak softly. You mean no harm. But the child runs, and the accident happens. You scream. You chase. Too late. The child dies. The woman collapses. She looks at you, and you realize you caused the tragedy, the one that shaped you, the one that haunted your life. You. There was no mystery, no villain, no stranger. It was always you. You just didn't know yet. And suddenly, everything fits. The grief, the obsession, the reason you built the machine. You go back to the present, but it's not the same because now you remember not just the tragedy, but your role in it. You try to change it again and again, but every time you try to fix it, you cause it. You are the cause. You are the consequence. You are the paradox. That is predestination. The future drives the past, and the past ensures the future. There is no freedom, no choice, only the loop. You are always going to build the machine, always going to go back, always going to cause the thing that made you build it. Fate is not a line, it's a circle, and you are the proof. No matter how far back you go, you find yourself already there, already doing the thing you swore you'd never do, already shaping the future that shapes you. You don't remember choosing this path, but the path remembers you. And now, late at night, you lie awake. You ask, was there ever a moment I could have changed? Was there ever a version where I turned away? Or was the moment already written before I was born? You close your eyes, but the loop doesn't. It spins forever. And you, caught inside, forget where the story began, because maybe it never did. The Polchinski Paradox. You sit at a table. Before you, a ball, a ramp, a loop, just physics, nothing strange. Now, imagine the ball rolls down the ramp, enters a wormhole, travels 1 second back in time, and hits its past self before it can enter the wormhole. It's simple. It's impossible. If the ball stops itself from entering the wormhole, it can't go back to hit itself. But if it doesn't go back, nothing stops it. So it does go back, which means it does stop itself, which means you stare at the loop again. No time machines, just logic. But the logic breaks. The ball can't both enter and not enter the wormhole, can't both hit and not hit itself. Cause and effect fold into contradiction. So physicist Joseph Polchinski asked what would happen, and the answer was strange. The ball might not stop itself entirely. Maybe it nudges its past self, changes its angle slightly, causing a trajectory that still leads it into the wormhole, but at just the right angle to nudge itself again, in the same way. Not a contradiction, a loop, a stable, self-consistent solution. The universe, some believe, demands consistency. Even if you time travel, you can't change the past. Every event, even collisions with yourself, must fit. No paradoxes allowed. So you run the simulation again and again. In every version, something shifts: the angle, the spin, the timing, until the system finds the one loop where cause and effect coexist, where the future affects the past in just the right way to cause itself. You begin to wonder, what if your life is like the ball? What if every decision you've ever made was already influenced, subtly, invisibly, by your future? What if the thoughts you think are echoes from events that haven't happened yet? What if deja vu is real? You drop the ball again. It rolls, loops, strikes, perfect balance. It doesn't fight the loop, it becomes it. That's the secret. Not to break time, but to bend with it, flow with it. In the quiet of night, you start to feel it too. The memory of things that haven't happened yet. A whisper in your thoughts that doesn't come from the past. A pattern in your choices that feels too smooth, too certain, like someone's already lived it, and that someone is you, but not you now, you then, or later. You wake from dreams you've never had. You avoid mistakes you never saw. You feel pulled, not by fear or reason, but by inevitability. And in the center of it all, the loop, no beginning, No end, just you, guiding yourself, forever. The ball rolls again, and this time it smiles. The twin paradox. You have a twin. Same eyes, same hands, same laugh. Born together, raised together. One soul in two bodies. One day, you build a ship. Not an ordinary ship. One that bends space, that slips between stars, that dances near the speed of light. You launch. Your twin stays behind. The universe stretches. Time bends. Seconds for you, years for them. You watch stars melt into lines. Colors shift. Thoughts slow. You feel normal. You are normal. But you are moving through time differently. Decades pass back home. You return. The house looks familiar, but smaller, older, faded. You knock. The door opens, and there they are, your twin, but not the same. They are older, wrinkled, slower. Their voice is tired. Their hands shake. You haven't aged. They have. They stare at you, like seeing a ghost. You stare back, like looking into the future. It doesn't make sense, but it's real. This is the twin paradox. Time is not constant. It stretches, compresses, depending on speed, on gravity, on motion. Einstein's clock doesn't tick evenly, and your ship, near light speed, moved through less time than your twin's quiet years on Earth. Same universe, different clocks. You try to explain. They nod. They understand. But something unspoken lingers between you. They lived a lifetime. You blinked. They loved, lost, built, broke, rebuilt. You floated among stars. You feel younger, but also emptier, like a book with half the pages missing. Your twin reaches for you. You flinch, because in their eyes, you see something strange. Regret, jealousy, or just time itself pressing down. They say, you didn't miss much, but you did. You missed the slow mornings, the quiet grief, the messy joy, the years that only move forward. And now you're back, but not really. You live in a time that's no longer yours. You walk streets you don't recognize, hear songs you never learned. You are a relic from a faster world. And in the silence of night, you lie awake. You stare at the ceiling, wondering, was it worth it? You saw the edge of time, but lost your place in it. You feel young, but hollow. Your twin is old, but whole. And then the darker question comes, what if one day they build a ship too? What if they launch and you stay? Time reverses. You wait. Decades pass. They return, unchanged. You're older now, slower, softer. They knock on the door. They look at you, and in their eyes, you see your own past. The loop continues, not through time, but through choice, because deep down, you both longed for something the other had, time or the stars, stillness or motion, but never both. You wonder, is the paradox just physics, or is it human? The inability to stay, the desire to go, to chase what lies ahead, even if it means leaving now behind. You look at your twin. They smile, And for a moment, you understand you are both mirrors, not of time, but of longing. And in the quiet, sleep finds you, not because the paradox is solved, but because you've learned to live inside it. The observer's paradox. You sit alone in a white room, no windows, no clocks, just silence. Time feels still, not paused, not frozen, just absent. You don't know how long you've been here. A minute? An hour? A lifetime? Now imagine this. A machine exists that can see through time, not just record the past, but observe it, watch it unfold like a film, perfectly, passively. You peer into it, and there you are, yesterday, last week, a year ago, every version of yourself, moving forward, unaware of the watching eye. You rewind, play, zoom in. The machine never alters anything. It only sees. But something feels wrong, because even though you know the machine doesn't interfere, something inside you shifts. A feeling, a flicker, like you were never really alone. You think, was I always being watched? And suddenly, the past feels different because you remember moments when you paused, when you looked over your shoulder, when you said something out loud, as if someone might hear. You wrote things in journals. You stared into mirrors. Maybe you were preparing for someone to look back. Maybe it was always you, the observer and the observed. Now imagine this. You go deeper. You build a second machine. This one doesn't just watch time, it watches the watcher. It looks at you, right now, observing yourself in the past. You feel the loop closing, and you begin to ask, at what point does watching become interference? You never touch your past, but you remember it differently now. You assign meaning. You question motives. You see choices where before there were none. You become suspicious of your own story. Because every observation changes the observer. Even in quantum physics, this is true. Particles behave differently when measured. The act of observing alters what's observed, not metaphorically, literally. So, what happens when a consciousness turns back on itself? What happens when you become both the actor and the audience? You are the one living and the one watching yourself live. You remember moments of hesitation, decisions you now realize were watched from the future. Did you change something? Or did the knowledge of being observed make the change inevitable? This is the observer's paradox. That looking changes what is seen. That memory is not passive. That time is not linear. That even now, as you lie still, someone, something, might be watching you watch yourself. You wonder if your future self is here, listening, gently turning the lens. You wonder if all your regrets are not mistakes, but signals, echoes, sent back through choices you don't yet understand. Maybe every strange instinct was a message. Maybe every pause, every sigh, every inexplicable moment of dread was you. From later, trying to guide yourself, not by force, but by gaze, like a lighthouse in fog. You were never alone. You were always being seen, by yourself, by the version of you who knows how it ends. And suddenly, the silence in the white room feels softer, Familiar? You're being watched, not with judgment, but compassion, because only you know how hard it's been. Only you have seen the whole path, both forward and back. You let out a breath you didn't know you were holding. The light flickers, time resumes, and for the first time in forever, you don't feel lost. You feel understood. The predestination trap. You're standing at a crossroads, two paths, left or right, choice. You breathe slowly, try to decide, but then something strange happens. A voice, familiar, your own, but older, calmer. It whispers, "Go right." You freeze. The voice disappears, but you listen. You go right. Years pass. That moment fades into memory until one day you build a machine, not of wires, but of time, a message sender, a device that can whisper into the past. You test it. You aim the signal back to a crossroads, a younger you, and you say it, "Go right." You realize it now. You were the voice. You made the choice, but only because future you told past you, and future you only told past you because you already made the choice. There was never a real decision, just a loop, a trap. This is the predestination paradox. The future causes the past causes the future. Causality spins in a perfect circle. No beginning, no end. You sit in silence. You thought you had free will, but you were just following a script you wrote, or maybe one that wrote you. You test it again. You send another message, this time to warn yourself. Don't trust him. You don't know who he is. But the warning feels urgent. The message lands in the past. A younger you hears it. And you remember now, there was a time someone tried to help you. A stranger, a mentor, a friend. But you pushed them away, out of fear. You didn't trust them, and things fell apart. That warning, it caused the very thing it tried to stop. You wonder, can you change anything? You send one more message. Stay home tonight. You remember a night when you avoided a disaster. Barely. Now you know why. Not luck, not instinct. A message from you. But did you prevent the disaster? Or did you create the conditions that required the message in the first place? If you hadn't warned yourself, would there have been danger at all? Your head spins. You realize you can't escape the loop. Every message you send creates the future you came from. Every warning fulfills its own necessity. You're not escaping fate. You are writing it. Over and over. Trapped by your own wisdom. Each time you try to stop something, you cause it. Each time you try to alter the timeline, you reinforce it. Freedom becomes illusion. You are the architect of your own cage. And yet, you keep trying. Why? Because maybe, somewhere deep inside, you believe in possibility. You believe that even a closed loop can bend, can twist, can crack. One choice at a time. You wonder, what if you stop sending messages? Let silence take over? Would you finally be free? But even that is a choice shaped by the messages you once sent. You are a reflection bouncing between moments, a voice echoing through yourself. But here's the quiet truth. Even if you're trapped in a loop, you're still the loop itself. You are the message and the receiver, the past and the future. And maybe that's not a prison. Maybe that's identity. So you rest your hand on the machine, close your eyes, and whisper one last time, trust yourself. The loop hums, the world softens, and sleep finds you. The reverse time illusion. Close your eyes. Now imagine time running backwards, not metaphorically, literally. Raindrops rise from the pavement into clouds. Smoke retreats into the cigarette. Words unspoken re enter your mouth. The dead stand up, breathe, walk backward into birth. It's not chaos, it's perfect symmetry. Now, imagine this. That's not just a thought experiment, that's reality. You're living in a reversed timeline, but your mind perceives it forward because your brain is wired to experience cause before effect. But what if that's a lie? What if your memories are not records of the past, but predictions? What if the future is fixed and the past is what you're building? This is the reverse time illusion. You think time flows from past to future, but maybe that's only how it feels. Imagine this. You meet a stranger. They change your life. They say something, one line, that echoes through your soul. Later, you realize they were exactly what you needed, exactly when you needed it. Coincidence? Or did your future reach back to create them? Like a magnet, pulling meaning from the randomness, shaping the past. You think you remember choices, but what if memory is constructed after the outcome? Like reading the end of a book, then imagining the pages that led there. Every moment you think is before might only exist because of what happens after. Now imagine time as a movie, but you're watching it in reverse, one frame at a time. You remember what you just saw, but not what's coming. So it feels like forward motion, but really, you're rewinding, and your consciousness is just along for the ride. You tell yourself stories to make sense of the flow. But what if there is no flow? What if time is static and you're just flickering between slices of it, each moment complete, eternal, motionless, and your awareness is the illusion of movement? You call it life, but it's just navigation. You start to wonder, have I ever made a choice? Or did the outcome shape the decision? Did I fall in love? Or did love reach back and write its own origin? Was my pain random or crafted backward to give meaning to healing? The past becomes suspicious, not sacred, not solid, just a consequence of what must be. You try to resist, but the logic sinks deeper. You remember a time you narrowly escaped harm. You think, I was lucky, but maybe the necessity of your survival shaped the moments before. Reality rewriting itself to ensure this version of you emerges, not by fate, but by demand, like a puzzle being solved in reverse. And now you lie still, suspended. You ask, what is the value of anything if time is just illusion? And then the answer arrives, gentle, quiet, obvious. Meaning is still real, even in reverse, even if you're the result, not the cause, even if your memories are guesses, even if time flows backwards. What you feel moving forward still matters. Love still warms. Loss still hurts. Wonder still stirs. and sleep still comes. So you let it, not to escape, but to drift. Backwards, forwards, it doesn't matter. You are here, always.